Hey, my name is Shelly, and welcome to a reading update. So I think it's been like almost a month since I last did my update. Life got really busy, and then in the last few weeks, a cold has taken over my family and got us all one by one. And that cold actually turned out to be COVID. So we are all home with COVID. I'm okay right now, but I feel like my throat is getting sore, so I figured I'm just gonna film now before I miss out on this chance. So I have a bit of a life update. My kids will be done school in about 2 weeks at the end of June. So once they're home, they will be home for 2 months. And that means that cutting my video recording time down like to zero. I could try to balance it out and do evenings, but evenings are really difficult in this family. And also, I will be perfectly honest, I get really, really tired. And the idea of sitting in front, setting up everything and sitting in front of camera is just, it's daunting to say the least. But I do have a backup plan, and my backup plan is that I may start making short TikTok videos and then upload them to Instagram and then make them shorts through YouTube. So I will link all my socials down below if you're interested in that. I don't have much on Instagram right now, and honestly, I don't have anything on TikTok. I will try to update as much as I can, but like I said, my schedule is going to be all out of whack. It's going to be a best effort situation. With all that said, let's talk about the books that I've been reading in the last few weeks. There is a big stack here, so let's get to it. I believe the last time I did an update, I was currently reading Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I finished this, obviously. I didn't give it 5 stars, and the main reason is because I felt like there was too much time spent planning, and I wanted more involvement in the actual Hunger Games. Maybe if I read it physically instead of listening to the audiobook, it would have been a different experience and I would have loved it way more, but I did listen to an audiobook and it wasn't a bad audiobook. I think that maybe going forward, if there's any more books in the Hunger Games series, I will probably read them with my eyes. But I still really loved it. I can't believe there's already a movie in the making. Actually, no, I can't believe it. So yeah, there's a movie in the making, so I will watch the movie. And I ended up giving this about 4 stars. It wasn't quite 5 stars, and I had a lot of fun with it. But like I mentioned, there was some stuff that I just wasn't crazy about, and that's just my personal preference. And the next book I talked about and finished since then is Kingdom of Claw by Demi Winters. This is the second book in the Ashen series, and I gave it 4.5 to 4.75. I haven't quite decided on yet. I loved this book. I love this book. The characters are amazing. The world building is amazing. I love the Viking-inspired world. I love all the creepy characters. I love the political intrigue. The romance in this. Oh my gosh. Talk about book boyfriends. The book boyfriend in here is just... he makes all the other book boyfriends just look so sad in comparison, because the way that he treats his woman, the way that he protects her and, you know, backs her up is just second to none. Loved it. I'm going to be screaming about this series going forward because it was such a tremendous time, and I don't understand why more people are not talking about it. There is a novella coming out. Actually, I think it already came out by the time this is filmed, and I pre-ordered it, and it hasn't been shipped, so I think I might have to email the company and say what's going on, because it was like literally 4 days ago and it hasn't been shipped, so I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, there's a novella in the series and it is following another character. And I'm really excited to get to that because I love the character that is following. So my romantasy girlies, please try this. Even if you don't like romantasy, I think it's one of those series that you can enjoy if you don't like romantasy. But be warned that there is a lot of mental health representation. There is characters going through like mental development and going through like grief, and sometimes they do stupid things because they're not quite thinking straight. So that can be a bit annoying, but keep it in mind that there is a process, and trust the author because she will not let you down. The next book I read was kind of like an impulse read. I don't even know why I decided to pick it up. Somebody was talking about it and I probably jumped into the hype and got all excited about it. But that is Reign of Shadows and Endings by Melissa K. Rorich. She is the author that wrote Lady of Darkness, which I read and DNF'd. But this is a brand new series that apparently you don't need to read the first series. Well, that's what the author says. I think you do need to read the other series before you continue on with this series. Even though it's following different characters, it's still in the same world, and I think there's a lot of references from the previous series that went over my head, especially at the ending. The ending, I think, really was like digging into the other series. So yeah, but this one is taking place in modern time, where it's almost like an urban fantasy, but in like a fantasy world. Kind of think of Crescent City a little bit. In this world, we're following beings that are called legacy beings, or legacy, and they're basically the offspring of gods. But these legacies are pretty much like fae, but then there's also fae as well, and they're completely different species. And in this world, the fae are considered lower class beings compared to these elite legacy beings. And we're following a main girl who is a fae, and she basically gets picked up to become what's the term for it? She gets picked to be this guy's like source, and basically that means that a bond is created between these two people, and because of this bond, they almost feel each other's feelings, and they, feel each other's sadness and love and whatever. But the legacies are able to siphon the fae's powers, like their source's powers, and use them. And basically they are like a tool. So that's kind of the setting. The plot does sound a bit questionable, but sometimes romantic series are kind of questionable. Unfortunately, this one really leaned into slave and slave master kind of relationship. I absolutely hated the male main character. I thought that he was despicable and just self-righteous and selfish, and just absolutely treated this woman like utter crap. But the other side characters were much more redeemable. But I know how these romanticities go, and I know that this guy is going to be the guy for this main character, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I ended up only giving this 3 stars because, like I mentioned before, I did not like the plot. I did not love the relationship, and I wasn't sure if the author wanted you to root for the relationship or not, because I definitely was not. I just wanted this poor girl to escape this guy, and yeah, I don't know. I really hope that this series goes a different direction, but I have a feeling it's going the direction that I don't want it to go. So I don't know. If you've read the series, let me know. Should I continue on? The other thing is, I think I should go back and read Lady of Darkness before continuing on. So at this point, I'm probably not going to continue on with the series anytime soon. So that's unfortunate. Continuing on with my romantasy, I picked up and finished Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This was a lot of fun. And I totally understand the hype, especially when it comes to the main character, Quicksilver. I really get it. I really do. To me, he is hilarious. I can understand how it rubs people the wrong way, but I personally love extremely cocky, arrogant characters with a heart of gold. That's kind of my personal preference, because I don't know, I just find that the personality is a little bit more intriguing than a golden retriever kind of guy. In a fantasy world, obviously, I'm not talking about in real life. So I totally understand why people love this book. I really do. And I thought that the beginning was so fantastic and so unique to other series that have like similar premises. But again, the more I read on, the more I'm like, oh, this is like A Court in Thorn and Roses, like almost to a T. But I will be honest, I actually prefer this story and writing style and characters over the Court of Thorn and Roses characters. So, I mean, take it as you will. But I had a really great time. I only ended up giving this about 4 stars because, like I mentioned, it was very predictable, very familiar, and I didn't really think it did anything groundbreaking or different, but it was a fun time. It was an addictive read, and I actually listened to the audiobook, and I highly recommend the audiobook because it's dual narrator. But not only is it dual narrator, the male actor does all the male voices and the female actor does all the female voices. So no matter what chapter or whose POV it is, you'll have both narrators in the chapters, and I love that. I wish more audiobooks did that because It was amazing. It was great. I'm going to be picking up the sequel when it comes out this fall. I'm kind of bummed about the cover changes. The new covers are just so lackluster. They won't catch your eye in the store. So I'm really questioning who was the art director on that cover. If there's a petition going around to rebrand the new covers, I will sign it, so send it my way. Okay, so the next books that I read are from the same series, and this series has taken over my life. It has taken over my heart, my soul, and that is Binding 13 by Chloe Welsh, and this is the first book in the Boys Atonement series. And, oh gosh. Okay. I didn't think I was going to love this series as much as I did, because from what I heard, I'm like, oh, it's a YA series about a bunch of guys from a rugby team in Ireland. And, you know, that sounds kind of cool and everything like that, but I'm like, it doesn't really sound like something that I'm really interested in. I was so wrong. I feel like there's a hair stuck on my face. This book broke me in so many ways and put me back together, and the love and the feelings, and oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop talking about it. I want my best friend to read it because she's Irish. So I'm like, you have to read this Irish book. So we're following Shannon, who is a young girl who's basically getting bullied, and she's from a broken family. I wouldn't even say broken. She's just from a very abusive, terrible family, and she's been bullied. She was bullied very badly at her old school, to the point where she had to transfer to this new school where luckily two of her childhood friends go to, but because it's a private school, it costs a lot of money, so it causes a lot of issues in her family. So she goes to this new school, and upon her first day, she bumps into the star player of the rugby team, who is like the star player of the school, who is this 6'3" big Dublin jock guy. Johnny, who's like the giant rugby guy, is older, and he has a promising career in the rugby world. So that is his main focus. And Shannon is, at the time when she starts the book, is 15. So there is an age gap, and obviously a social gap and a class difference between the two of them. So, but, you know, obviously this is a romance book. This is a dual POV story where it's following both of these characters in their personal life and their, love life together. So it is just, if you want to be heartbroken, if you want to feel all the nostalgic feelings of being a teenager, if you want it all, I really recommend this. But do look for trigger warnings, because there's a lot of heavy topics in this that I honestly wouldn't recommend a young adult to read. Maybe if they're like the same age as these characters, but I wouldn't give this to my best friend's daughter who is 14. I would not let her read this. So just keep that in mind. It is a young adult, but it's not. It's not a young adult book. But I actually only ended up giving this one 4.5 because I felt like it dragged on a lot, and there was a lot of repetitiveness, and I found out afterwards it is because it is a self-published book, or it originally was a self-published book. I love a good success story, especially when it comes to indie authors, so I will always support new indie authors that are either I will always support indie authors, whether they are traditionally published afterwards, it doesn't matter, but I love a good success story. And this is so great that I decided to instantly jump into Keeping 13. This was a 5-star. This was a 5-star read. Oh my God, the emotions. We are literally continuing on. So if you do plan to pick up Binding 13, just be prepared to instantly have to pick up Keeping 13, because I basically view this as one giant book. So just keep that in mind. But this Keeping 13 was so good. Was so incredibly good. Oh my gosh. The emotions, the drama, the everything. It's just 5 stars. 5 stars. But again, check your trigger warnings and have a box of tissues, because you will need it. The way that I can kind of sell people to read this book is, if you like the Netflix show Sex Education, or Normal People, or also a teeny weeny little bit of Shameless. If you like all of those shows, I think you'll like this. I was going to pick up the next book in this series, but I promised to take part in a buddy read that I'm hosting on my own Discord channel, so I felt like it would be not very nice if I ditched on that. So that is what I'm currently reading right now. So currently I am reading Black Tide Sun by H.M. Long. This is the second book in the Winter Seas trilogy, and the first one is Darkwater Daughter. So this is a first read for me, and this is a nautical setting kind of book where you have like these like magical creatures that are connected to trees and people with different special abilities, almost like X-Men, and you're following different types of people, like from the Navy. There's pirates, there's witches, there's like bounty hunters, like everything you could possibly think of, it's in these books. And there is a romantic subplot. So this is a dual POV, and I'm actually listening to the audiobook. And the audiobook narrator for the female, for Mary, is fantastic. It's Moira Cork. She's like my favorite audiobook narrator. Love her. So good. But the audiobook narrator that does the guy's point of view is the same audiobook narrator that does the Sun Ear series. And I really don't like his voice. I just don't think it fits the narrative. I don't think it fits this character, and it brings a certain, I don't want to say ethereal, what's the word? Arrogant? I don't know. It brings a certain tone to this that I just don't think it fits the story. So I am kind of struggling through this because there are more chapters of the guy's POV than there is of Mary's POV. So it's a slog for me, to be honest. Okay, so here's the thing. I think the series is really good. I think the author is incredibly talented. I love the world building. I love the characters. Actually, not so much the characters, but I love the world building, the magic system. The story itself is really great. But there's something about, I think it's like the pacing or the plotting that I just can't connect with. I feel like the pacing is a little uneven. The action scenes are too quick and fast, and then the rest of it is like slow and sloggy almost. So I am kind of struggling with the plot, even though I like the plot, I like the story, I like all the characters, like the creepy characters are so good. I love all that. So I'm really kind of bummed right now that I'm not loving it. But that also could be that I am kind of in a fantasy slog right now, especially when it's like a fantasy world that takes place in like the past almost. I'm kind of more drawn towards modern settings right now, and I think that is why I'm having a lot of trouble with it. But I still do really recommend it, and I will be probably finished in a day or two, and then once I finish that, I'm going to jump right into the next audiobook of Saving Six. This is the third book in the Tommen series, and this is following a different character in the series, and I am so excited to get to this one. I'm also kind of happy that it's a little shorter than the other ones, because the other ones are quite thick. So I'm going to be reading this probably in a day or two, and I'm going to blow through the series probably. By the time I do my next update, I will probably get to the end of the series. So I won't be able to shut up about it because I just love it so much. And then for what I'm physically reading, I am physically reading The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. So if you have been around for a while, you know that I picked up this book a while ago and DNF'd it. Well, I'm decided to give it a good second chance, and I'm about halfway through right now. I'm still kind of struggling to get into it, but that could be also that I haven't had much time to physically read lately. So I do hope to get into reading a little bit more this weekend and put more of a dent in it, because I do really like the world, I really like the characters, and I think it's a lot of fun. So I will be hopefully finishing this book and continue on with the series. So I will be putting out a summer TBR soon, probably after this sickness has made its way through my house and everybody's feeling better. So hopefully the next 2 weeks I hope to come out with a July and August TBR. Spoiler alert, it's going to be mostly romantic, fantasy, and romance. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, and you feel like commenting but you don't have anything to say, you can leave some sort of sports emoji for keeping 13. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!